For most people, the hamstrings are the tightest muscle in the body and they can be really difficult to like stretch and lengthen. But the good news is there are plenty of yoga poses that will help with this. So let's get to it. Hi everyone, my name is Arundhati and this is a very sleepy munch as always, and we're back this week with a video about stretching your hamstrings out through yoga poses. Now the hamstring muscle, if you don't know, is the muscle at the back of your thigh. It starts at the glute and it kind of goes behind the knee and into your calf muscle. And because we sit and stand and run and climb steps and walk and use our legs so much, this muscle can be really tight. The glutes, that is your butt muscle, and your hamstrings, they can get really tight if we don't continuously stretch them out. So in today's sequence, I'm going to walk you through some of the most effective yoga poses that you can do to lengthen your hamstring, to stretch it out. And the best part is this is good for your lower back health as well. Okay, so if you've noticed you've got a little bit of back discomfort because of just lifestyle, then make sure you try the sequence out. Now, before we start, you will need a couple of props in today's practice, especially a strap. So if you don't have a yoga strap, grab a towel, a dog's leash, a belt, just anything that can act as an extension of your arm. A couple of blocks will always be handy, and a cushion or a blanket will also come to your aid as needed. Okay, so to begin, you bend your knees and you lie on your back. Okay, and keeping your feet on the mat, knees bent, take your right leg up, bend your right knee. Okay, and then turn the right knee out. Place your right ankle on your left thigh. Okay, this is called figure 4 pose. Okay, or Supta Hindolasana, also known as Ekapada Utkatasana. I mean, in case you're interested in the names. Okay, if not, just ignore this part. Now, wrap your hands around the left leg. Okay, now flex your right ankle and move your right knee away from the body. When I say away from the body, I'm referring to the torso here. So you flex your right ankle and you move your right knee away from your spine. Okay, you'll feel this in your outer right glute, your outer right hip. Relax your shoulders, widen your elbows, and hug the leg in, but be careful not to rock your lower back up. You want to, in fact, lengthen your tail away from your spine. And then release. Same thing, second side, take your left ankle over your right thigh. Okay, notice it's pretty close to the knee, not closer to the hip. And then you draw in. And in case you have shorter arm bones, you might notice that it's harder to grab the leg. And in that case, you can leave your arms by your side and just press in with the leg. Okay, now if you've got long arms like I do, then you might be able to wrap your arms around your leg. Now flex your left ankle, move your left knee away from you. And again, don't rock up in your lower spine. In fact, rock away from your spine. Okay, keep moving that left knee, relax your shoulders, widen your elbows. Take one steady in breath and an equally steady out breath. Nicely done. And then slowly release that. And this is where you grab your strap. Okay. Now hug your right knee back into your chest. It's one of my favorite poses, this one that I'm going to take you into. It's called Supta Pada Angushtasana, supine hand to big toe pose. Now place the strap, make sure you notice this, place the strap on the ball mounds of the foot, not on the arch, not on the heel. Because watch this foot, you can actually press upward with the foot, okay, the ball mounds of the foot. So it's like standing on the floor and raising your heels, that's kind of what you're doing here. So you place the strap here. Now don't fight with your hamstring. In fact, move the thigh away from your abdomen, press upward, especially the inner edge of the foot, your big toe side, and just stay here. And with your other leg, right, you can keep it bent like you see what I'm doing here, or some of you can straighten it. Now because Munch is lying there, I'm going to keep my knee bent, okay, but if you can straighten the leg, please do. Now inhale, press the foot upward, okay, and breathe into your hamstrings, okay, just breathe comfortably, and you'll notice the back of your leg really talking to you. It's okay if your leg is far away from you to straighten the leg. Okay, it's not like a closer leg is a better pose. Okay, and then inhale here, stretch the toes, and then as you exhale, bend the knee and release, and then go to the other side. Take your left leg up. Okay. Again, the inside of the foot will drop. Okay. So press that big toe mound up, stretch the toes towards your face and move your thigh away from your belly. Okay. A lot of times people will bend the knee and they'll try to bring their leg in, but that's going to take you longer to release the hamstring. So just be kind to your hamstring. Okay. Press up, up, up and breathe into it. Okay. We all have one hamstring that is tighter. Okay. So notice which one it is for you. For me, it's the right hamstring. Tell me in the comments below which of your hamstrings are tighter. You can't say both. I want you to tell me which one is the tighter one. And then slowly bend the knee and release. And if that really worked on your body, feel free to do that a second time. Okay. Now hug your knees to your chest and then roll over to your right side and gradually press yourself up. Press yourself up and come to your hands and feet. Okay. We're going into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Okay. And on the channel, there are ways to measure out for your down dog, but I'm going to navigate around my dog over here. When you're ready, press your palms, open your hands up, push the floor away from you, hook your toes in and lift your hips up and back. Now, a common misconception in down dog is that people think that their heels have to touch the floor. They don't. For most people, in fact, the heels will never touch. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, as long as your hands and your feet are parallel to each other and your arms are straight, you're pressing the floor away from you, you widen between your shoulder blades, you drop your head and you're trying to send your weight up towards the hips and back towards the legs. Okay. As you watch your feet here, make sure your feet are parallel and your heels aren't turning in. And then start to pedal your legs out. Bend one knee at a time and then switch over, bend the other knee. Okay. And then switch over. You can always drop your knees, take breaks if I'm holding you here too long. Let's do that one more time. Bend the knee. Yes. Okay. Downward facing dog pose. And then tap your knees down. Now the next pose is pigeon pose. Okay. So you're going back up into your down dog. Just got you down so you can rest your arms a bit. Now hook your toes under and then lift your hips up and back. Okay. Take a breath here. And now look ahead. Bring your right knee to your chest. Open the right knee out to the right side and tap your back knee down on the mat. Point your left toes to the end of your mat. And now your front foot, make sure it's flexed. Okay. A lot of times people will push the shin bone forward to make it parallel to your mat. You don't need to. That's not pigeon pose. Okay. Now draw your right hip back. You roll your left hip forward. Essentially, your two hip bones, have them facing forward. Flex your right ankle. Be mindful here to drop your tail down towards the mat. Okay. Okay. I think Munch is getting tickled by my foot, but drop your tail down, roll your shoulders back. Okay. You should feel no compression in your lower spine. If you do, we've probably gone too deep. Grab your blocks and then lift yourself up and out of it a little more. Okay. Now, take a breath here. Keep your weight even on both hips. And the name of this pose, right? It comes from the pigeon's chest. So find that open chest. Roll your shoulders back. That's it. Breathe in. And then as you breathe out, shift forward and then lift yourself back and take yourself to another down dog. Again, my down dog's a little off right here because this boy is refusing to leave my mat today. Okay. I know some of you told me you enjoy seeing him. I think he enjoys being here as well. And then second side, you're switching legs. Now bring your left knee forward and open the left knee out to the left side. Okay, now make sure the knee is beyond the hip. It's not in front. A lot of times people will put their knee right in front. It's not in front of the hip. It's outside the hip. Just like you see here, the knee is on the side of the mat. Now drop your tail, flex your front ankle, roll your right hip forward. Okay, zip up the navel a little bit, roll your shoulders back. Okay. Some of you will absolutely need blocks here. Again, I've said this before on the channel, I have long arms, so I don't use blocks for some of these poses. But if you notice you're higher up and you're unable to put your hands on the mat, please use your blocks. Okay. Roll your shoulders back, drop the tail, inhale here. And then as you exhale, put both hands down again, lean forward, press your hands down, and then lift that back leg up and unwind into another downward facing dog pose. Breathe in. And then as you breathe out, just look ahead, bend your knees and walk forward, step forward. Keeping the knees bent, take your hands on your hips and lift yourself up. Okay, now we move into a lunging sun salute prep type, a classical Surya Namaskar prep, which means just doing a part of it. Okay, stay at the top of your mat. If your knees feel anything, put a blanket under your knees. When you're ready, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, reach your arms up. As you exhale, send your hips back, bend your knees, okay, and then folding in. Bend your knees, especially if your back tends to trouble you, and drop your head at the end. Now inhale, come halfway up, lengthen your spine, Ardha Uttanasana. Keep your spine parallel to your mat. And as you exhale, bend your knees again. Now pick up your right leg, send your right leg far back on your mat, and then tap your knee down. Anjaneyasana, knee over your ankle. Okay, this is where your blocks are more than welcome. Okay, roll your shoulders back, chest up, spine up, chest open. You can stay there or inhale, reach your arms up. As you exhale, put your hands back down. Okay, lift the back knee. Now lengthen your spine here. Think of your chest forward, eyes forward, and walk or step to the top of your mat. Immediately inhale, halfway up, lengthen your spine here. And now, especially if your back troubles you, bend your knees pretty deeply and fold in. Okay, let the head drop at the very end. Now inhale, stretch the breath as you reach your arms up. And then both hands draw to your heart center. Again, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, upward facing palms pose. Exhale, send your hips back. Again, bend your knees, especially if your hamstrings feel super tight or your back tends to trouble you. Uttanasana. Inhale, come halfway up, lengthen. And then as you exhale, bend your knees. Keep your spine reaching forward, but send your left leg back. Tap your back knee down. And watch this front ankle, knee over your ankle. Press your right foot down. We've done this pose on the channel many times before. Now, as you press your right foot down, come up here, Anjaneya's pose. You can stay here, here, or you inhale and lift up. So a lot of times you'll notice your hips are higher. I want you to see if you can bring your hips a little lower here. So we're stretching out this part and the opposite glute hamstring as we switch. And then slowly come forward, move your blocks out, pick up the back knee and make your way to the front. Now halfway up, inhale, fold over, again bending your knees, drop the head at the very end. Stretch the breath, reach your arms up and then hands draw down. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, reach through your fingertips. Exhale, hips go back, bend your knees, folding in. Inhale, come halfway up, lengthen through your spine. Exhale, keep bending your knees, send your right leg back, tap your back knee down, have your front knee over your ankle. Stay here, inhale, or use your blocks, or come up. Anjaneya's pose, one of my favorite asanas of all times. As you exhale, both hands down, pick up the knee, lengthen your spine, and remember you can take small steps in, or you take a big step forward. Come halfway up, lengthen, and fold over. Keep those knees bent for your back as required. Inhale, stretch the arms overhead, reach up and hands draw down. That's it, one more. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hips go back, spine reaches forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, come halfway up. And now bend your knees, pick up your left leg, send it back, tap your back knee down. Okay, right knee over your ankle, inhale, coming up. Essentially find a rhythm of movement here. And then as you exhale, both hands down, pick your back knee and step forward. Inhale, come halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana, lean forward here a little bit. And then as you exhale, bending at the knees, folding in, let the head drop at the very end. Keeping the knees bent for your back as needed. Inhale, reach up again. And both hands draw down as you exhale. Okay, needless to say, you can just hit pause and do that all over again. Okay, but otherwise, join me at the middle of your mat. I'm going to be a little off center here because of this guy who's just doing Shavasana all the time. But feet together, bend your knees. Okay, and then step your feet wide. Step your feet wide. How wide do you need to be? Essentially, your ankles come below your wrist. Now inhale, press the outer edges of your feet. Make sure your toes go straight forward, okay? So you're never here. That's not good for your knees. You want to make sure your toes are forward. It's like, it helps you to not slip on your floor or your mat. Inhaling here. Now Trikonasana, turn your entire left leg out, right leg in. Left leg out, right leg in. Now look over your left fingertips, anchor the outer edge of your right foot, and now you reach over to the left side, okay? Keep your legs as straight as you can have them and place your hand on your shin, okay? Put your right hand on your hip here for a moment, or use a block. If you have a block, I'm a big fan of using the block. It does so much for our form in the long term. Now press the outer edge of your right foot, lift your chest up, okay? Roll your right shoulder open, yes. And watch this part, the big toe mound of your foot, right? Press that down. Press that into your mat. Now inhale, straighten your legs or re-straighten your legs. And as you exhale, lengthen your spine. That's it. Now inhale here, turn your chest from left to right. Again, look down if your neck troubles you. And then if your shoulders are stacked, take your top arm up. Trikonasana, you'll be feeling this on the left hamstring. Left glute, left hamstring. To come out of this pose, bend the front knee, pick yourself up, feet parallel, and then reset. If you need to reset, reset. Stand tall, take a breath in Tadasana. And then whenever you're ready, it's time to head to our second side. Step or hop, your feet apart. If you're using the block, move it to your other side. Ankles below your wrist, turn your left toes in, right toes out. Now, reach as you anchor your left foot. That's really important for you to understand. Anchor the outer edge of your left foot. Reach across. Reach all the way like you'll touch the wall on your right. Keep this right leg straight and bring your hand down on the shin or on the block if you used it on the other side. Now, lengthen your spine towards the right side. Re-straighten both legs. And it's okay if your knee is bent initially. Over time, that knee will slowly straighten as the hamstring frees up. Now inhale here, creating space. Exhale, turn your chest from right to left. Breathe in. And then as you breathe out, bend the knee and then lift yourself up. Feet parallel and step your legs together. Nicely done. Okay. Now grab both blocks. Grab both blocks. Now, you can have the blocks in the tallest height. So, they're essentially 3 heights of your blocks. Okay, let me just tell you this now because hopefully it will help you in other videos we do. This is the tallest height of the block. Then there's the mid height and this is the lowest height of the block. And the purpose of the block is to elevate the floor for you in this pose. So if you notice that you are having some amount of challenge getting towards the floor, then go higher on your blocks. If you have a certain amount of ease in getting to the floor with your hands, then go lower on the block or you may not need them. Okay, hopefully that made sense. Now meet me at the top of your mat, the narrow side of your mat, and have your feet shoulder distance apart. Okay, now bend your knees, step your right foot back. Step your right foot back. It's at an angle. It's okay if your heel doesn't touch. You can even put the heel against a wall. Now roll your shoulders back. Okay, breathe in. And then as you breathe out, send your hips back towards the wall behind you. And then come forward, keep your left leg as straight as you can. And now pull those blocks in under your shoulders. Okay, press into your blocks, but lengthen your spine. Now, for most people, we'll start to feel the stretch in our hamstring at this point. If you feel it in your knee, please bend your knee here a little bit. Now inhale, straighten the legs. Press your left foot, drag. Notice this, drag your left hip back. Your right hip will roll forward. Inhale here. Stay here on an exhale. For some of us, we'll stop here, especially if your back tends to bother you. For some of you, you will start to walk your hands out a little bit. Bend at your elbows and then slowly think belly to thighs, chest to knee, head to the shin. Now don't take that literally. That's just in a fancy way of saying don't drop your head first. Okay. And then bend the front knee, lengthen your spine again. And then step in with your back leg and come to stand. Let's get to your second side. Make sure your feet are shoulder distance apart. Bend your knees, step your left leg back. The foot will be at an angle, okay? So think 10 o'clock if you were positioning it on the dial of a clock. Now, pull your right hip back, left hip forward, press into the floor. Think of really lengthening the front body, roll your shoulders open, breathe in. Now, as you breathe out, pull your hips back, lengthen your spine. Okay, you can even have your hands on a seat of a chair if the blocks feel too low. Okay, and then coming up into a parallel spine, like you did in those sun salutation prep a moment ago. Drag your right hip back, press the inner edge of your right foot, lengthen your spine. So don't be in a rush to fold in. Create as much space and length as you can. Now inhale here. Some of us will stop and breathe into that hamstring. Some of you will widen your hands and again think belly to thighs, chest to knee, head to shin. Now this is a huge stretch on your hamstring, so please be kind and gentle with yourself. And then walk your hands back in, okay? And then slowly lengthen. Bend the front knee, step in with your back leg, and then keeping the knees bent as needed, hands on your hips, chin and chest up, and come to stand. Okay, now turn, well, depends on how you're oriented on your mat. Okay, you want to, I was going to say turn to the long side of your mat, but you don't need to. It just depends on how you are positioned. So the next pose is a balance pose. Okay, and I highly recommend you use a wall. You can have your hands against a wall. You can have your hands against a couch or a chair or even a table. I'm going to show it to you with blocks. So start with your feet shoulder distance apart. Okay, you bend your knees and you send your hips back. It's a lot like pigeon pose, but a standing version of it. Okay, or figure four and a standing version of it. Take your weight to your left leg, pick up your right ankle, your right leg, place that over your left thigh. Flex your ankle. Okay, now right here, a lot of us will end up wobbling and that's fine. Just send your hips further back and reach for your blocks. You can reach for any height of the blocks. I'm going to leave them at mid height for my arm proportions. And then you bend your knee and you sit back. Now keep going. I'm going to switch sides here to show you something. Let me go this way. So as you do this, right, you want to make sure your front knee is pulling back behind your toes. It's like a single leg squat. And then you flex your top ankle and you sit far back. Breathe into it, breathe into it, breathe into it. Just don't do this. Notice where the knee has overshot the ankle. You don't want that. That's not great for us in the long run. And then slowly release the leg, bend your knees and come to stand. Okay, that's a really good pose. You can even do it sitting on a chair. Okay, you can do it really as often as you can. Essentially stretches out the glutes and the hamstrings in a very effective way. Now shift all your weight to your right leg. Okay, pick up your left knee, your left leg, and then send your hips back. And again, notice you'll balance better and stronger on one side. And I want you to tell me in the comments below, apart from your hamstring, which leg balances better for you. It's all part of understanding all the balances and imbalances we have in our bodies. Okay, so again, choose the height of blocks that you need. Flex your top leg, sit back, sit back. I want you to imagine like there's a chair behind you and you're sitting on that chair. Okay, going back, knee behind your toes, right knee behind your toes. Breathe in. Stay there on the breath out. It's a big muscle group, right? So you want to give it a little extra time. One more breath. Breathe in and breathe out. Nicely done. And then slowly release the leg. Keep your knees bent, hands on your hips and come to stand. All right. Okay. From here, put your blocks aside. Actually, put your blocks at the top of your mat and then meet me on your hands and knees. Meet me on your hands and knees. We'll do two more things here and we'll wind our hamstring sequence down. Put your right foot in Anjaneyasana. Put your right foot in Anjaneya's pose. Now take your blocks high if you need them there. Okay. Now roll your shoulders open and lunge forward in your hips. Now from here, pull your hips back, flex your right ankle. Okay, so I'm going to move my block out. You can see, flex the foot, draw the toes towards you, press your foot down. Try not to let the foot turn out. Okay, and then come forward again. Two more of those. Inhaling, you take your hips back, stay there on the exhale. Really, you'll get that stretch here. Some of you, if you hyperextend and you know what that means, you bend that knee. And then come forward. Last one, okay? and then take it back. That's it. It's one of my favorite poses. Actually, I think I say that a lot, okay? And then slowly come up. And then release. Switch over. Take your other leg in front. Knee over your ankle. Roll your shoulders back. Chest up. That's it. Now exhaling, drag your hips back. Flex the front foot. A lot of times people will drop right away. Resist that. Keep your chest up. Keep pulling the hips back. Flex through the front heel. Press that foot down. And then coming up. Let's do 2 more. Going back. Breathe comfortably here. And then coming forward. Yes. 1 more like that. Going back. And coming forward. That's it. And then release. Nicely done. And needless to say, you can repeat that a second time, a third time. Now, as we set up for one final pose here, okay, just follow along. Have your blocks on either side of your mat, okay, and have your cushion or your blanket under your head and your neck. Okay. Now, before I set you up for this final pose, I just want to say one very quick important thing. With this sequence, with your glute hamstrings, I want you to repeat this a few times every week. You will see so much more growth and benefit from this sequence if you do it more than once a week. So if you have the time, do it twice a week or thrice a week. Do it for at least 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And then let me know in the comments below if you're actually seeing a growth in it and if you want me to do more hamstring lengthening, stretching type of videos here in future, because there are more poses that can help. Okay. Now, I encourage you to stay in this pose for as long as you can. I'll keep you here for a few breaths. You bend your knees and you lie back. Okay. Position your head and neck on the blanket. Now take your blocks to their mid height. Now, join the soles of your feet together. Draw the feet close to you. It's called Baddha Konasana, bound angle. If you've seen other videos, we've done these before. And position your knees, your outer top thigh on the blocks. Okay, you don't want to overstretch here. It's essentially to soften some of the muscles in our groins and our hips. And then you turn your palms up. Okay, I'm a big fan of dimming the lights in this pose, letting your eyes close. Soften in your jaws, unclench your lower jaw. Let your eyes fall closed. Relax your eyes. And notice the breath in your belly. And just stay there for the next few rounds of breath. If you have a few extra moments and you're resting well, please continue as you are. Everyone else, slowly bring your mind back into your body. Gently wriggle your toes, your fingertips. And then bring your knees together. You can use your hands to help. And then roll over to your right side. And gradually press yourself up to sit. And sit with your eyes closed for a moment. Join your hands in Namaskar. Take a soft breath in through the nose and a relaxed breath out the same way. Gently bowing the head down. Let your eyes blink open and raise your head up. Thank you very much. I hope this sequence will help you really open and lengthen and stretch your hamstrings out. Again, just remember to do it at least a few times in the next few weeks to see maximum benefit from it. I look forward to hearing about your balance and your hamstrings in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and maybe even share it with a yoga friend of yours. Manch and I are saying bye at this point. We'll see you next week with a brand new practice video. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.